In this video, we'll look into another model or method through which we can find the price of a stock. We know one of the limitation of the dividend discount model is that it is used to find the price of the stock of those companies which are paying dividend. But there are many companies which do not give dividend, but their stocks are still priced and traded on the stock exchange. So this method is applicable on those companies in order to find the price of their stock which are not paying dividend. And this is called residual income model, right? We can write it like in a short form, it's residual income model. So residual income model. Now over here the idea is that we try to find the price of the stock based on the residual income. But in order to first find out the residual income, we need to understand few concepts. So for example, this is the end of time period t minus 1, and the investor has stuck up some investment in the stock, and that is actually also the book value of the equity. Say at this level, the book value of the equity in each share is BT minus 1. So this whole period, this whole timeline is representing the time period T. So this is the end of time period T, right? So over the period, the investor, if the investor's required rate of return is K, then he wants that by the end of the time period T, his investment should grow by BT minus 1 into K, which we can rewrite as, we can rename as required earnings per share by the investor in the stock during the time period T. So this is the required earning per share. But what is the actual earning per share? That earnings per share the investor only will know once the whole time period T will end. And that is the actual earnings per share T which he will get. So now the residual income is actually residual income during the time period T is actually the earnings per share, the actual earnings per share minus minus the required earning per share during time period T. And now if for all the subsequent years the investor will able to get the residual income and then discount it at its required rate of return and add them to the current book value, he'll be able to find the price of the stock right now. So for this reason, you can see that we will be able to get the residual income. The price of the stock will be now based on two parts: the book value, current book value, plus the residual incomes, present value of the residual incomes belonging to the future. So present value of all the residual income, future residual incomes. This is EPS 1 because after time period 0, the first time period is the 1. So actual earnings per share 1 minus the required earnings per share, which is B0 into K. Remember, we started with the B0 because this is the book value right now stuck up in the company for each share. Now this will be divided by 1 plus K, required rate of return, raised to the power 1. Likewise, we again find the present value of the EPS 2, the second time period whatever is the actual earnings per share, minus the B1, the book value starting at the time period 1, multiply by the required rate of return K, whole divided by 1 plus K raised to the power 2, plus likewise we'll keep on going, and we will have the EPS 3 minus B2 into the required rate of return during the third period divided by 1 plus discount rate raised to the power 3. Now, similar to the assumption which we have made in the perpetual growth dividend discount model, we will make that the earnings per share will be growing at a constant rate G. If it is growing at a constant rate G, then we can rewrite the previous equation, this equation, right? And so this we can rewrite as P naught equal to B naught plus earning per share right now, the current earning per share growing at a constant rate. So this will obviously, this thing will give us actually EPS 1, the earnings per share after one time period, minus the required rate of return during the first period. In fact, the required earnings per share, this is the required earnings per share during the first period, right? Whole divided by K minus G. So whole divided by K minus G. And if we'll solve this, take the LCM and solve this algebraically, we can rewrite P naught equal to EPS, earning per share in the first time period, minus the required earning per share in the first time period, whole divided by K minus G. So we have two formulas for the residual income model. We can either use this and this. We simply algebraically manipulated the first one to get the second one. So it's nothing different. Both will give the same answers. Now let's go with a small example in order to see that how this model will work. So for example, there is a company and the company's current earnings per share is which is recently company has given is $1.2. So this is actually 1.2, $1.2, and the company is paying dividend are 0. So the dividends are actually 0. So this is the reason why we cannot use dividends and discount model over here. So right now the book value of each share, right, at the start of the current period is $5.886. So this is the current value, book value stuck up in each share, right? And if we assume that the earnings will grow at a constant rate of 9%, again this is a big assumption, but if this is the assumption and the required rate of is 13%, then as we have just seen, we can use this formula, either of these two, right, to find out the answers, right? So we can easily use at this time this one, the top one, this formula, and find the answer. So if we'll go with this formula, so over P naught is equal to the current book value, right? This 5.886 plus, now what is the current earnings per share? It is 1.2 into what is the growth rate? That is 1 plus the growth rate is 9%, so it's 0.09, and minus we do not have much space over here, minus 5.886, which is the current book values, multiply with the required rate of return. The 13% is the required rate of return, so it is 0.13 in decimals, right? Whole divided by K minus G, right? K minus G, we can see over here, it's K minus G in the denominator. So it's K minus G. So K minus G is 0.13 K, required rate of return, minus G, 0.09, right? So if you'll solve it, you'll see that your answer should be 19.46. So in short, in the residual income model, what we are discounting, we are trying to find the present value of the future residual incomes. And what is the residual income? The residual income is the excess of earnings per share on top of what is the required earnings, right? So it's the excess of actual earning over required earnings. So required earnings, all the investors want. Anything on top of that is the economic value added into the firm. So if we try to find the present value by discounting them at the appropriate discount rate, which again we can use the capital asset pricing model over here to find the required rate of return, we can find the price of the stock of those companies which are not paying the dividends. I hope you like this video.